favor. Just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, good evening, race fans. Tonight we come at you from Calder Park here in Australia for the third round of our USA Trucks chase. And as is customary with this chase, we have our sprint qualifier to begin the night here. And on the front row, we've got Ryan White and William Whitmore. Then you've got Ace Vaden and Tasha Wright, Joao Vitor and Zach Moorwhite, Krista Cower and Brandon Butler II, Wyatt Wilkinson and Adam Starr, Jason So and Drew Clue, Johnny Blaney and Paul Ladino, Cal Anderson and Ryan Little, Chris Ferguson and AJ Kosnoff. Now, as road course racing goes, the deeper in the field here, most likely going to have a hard time making it to the main event here tonight, as we'll just skim through the remaining trucks at the back half of the field here. And so, yeah, no, our sprint qualifier is going to be 11 laps long. And so far, looks like Ryan White and William Whitmore on the right track here, starting on the front row. Of course, with our Sigma Racing Series, there's no cautions unless we deem it 100% necessary here on the road courses. And so this is the third stop on the calendar in our chase here. Championship's going to be claimed here within another month or two. Whitmore a little slow on the start there, got bumped there by Tasha as they had a little bit of a hold up. They're slowly working their way to the start finish line. Flagman sitting on that flag for a long time. We see the flagman there. Now he's waving the green flag. He was keeping everyone honest and on their feet there to try and get as clean of a start as we could. Off to the early lead, it's William Whitmore with Tasha Wright in second as the 70 there of Ryan White falls back to fourth. And here comes Zach Moorwhite up to second here as he gets by Tasha Wright for second. Seems like all trucks still running here, getting it pretty well clean through the first lap. Ultimately, 11 laps here in the sprint qualifier should allow for a few runners to try and work their way up to the front here. But for the most part, not going to be a lot of movement, probably. William Whitmore leads the first lap there dominantly as they come through the hay bale section here. Once we make to the main event tonight, this track is going to be a tough one to master. It's going to be a hard track for everyone involved. It's one reason why it's in our chase, as it's really going to test even the best of drivers here tonight. It really it almost feels like a super speedway at some parts of the track. And then you get into the very technical road course parts of the track. They get up to speed on some of the long winding turns, and yeah, it's going to be exciting to see who comes out tonight on top. Nate Newman, a resident on this side of the country, should be in the field here in the sprint qualifier. There he is in the middies, number 72 Volkswagen there. Nate not looking like he's going to make it through into the main event. This was definitely not where he wanted to be at this point in the season. But for most of these drivers, they're going to be looking towards improving next year, getting better and better qualifying for races in 2025. The only reason he's here is he had a rough regular season and has been mired outside the top 20 in points from his respective division. Crazy things could still pan out here in the sprint qualifier. I don't anticipate 11 laps being long enough for a fuel run here. But perhaps, just maybe, if fuel mileage starts to become a factor here, we might see some things change up. So, our top three right now pretty close together here. That's still very highly competitive fight for the last transfer into the main event here tonight. So far, William Whitmore has led half of this sprint qualifier as they continue to grow their lead over fourth place, Ryan White. You got more White in the second and Wright in third. Tonight's main event here at Calder Park will be 199 miles in distance for a grand total of 76 laps. So that should structure itself towards being kind of a strategic race here tonight. We have seen some chaos, especially in this hay bale section right here. So far tonight, everyone's been driving pretty clean here in the sprint qualifier. But we'll see once they get through here and onto the main event just how clean things are going to stay. So far, fastest lap in the sprint quali here does belong to Tasha Wright. She's running in third there. If she can find an opportunity to make a pass to get back by the 01 truck, she would be in on a transfer here tonight. Definitely not looking. Oh, and there's one of the first mistakes we've seen from William Whitmore there as he drove it into the grass. That's going to open the door here. The 01 right on his back bumper. Crazy how you make one mistake and your competition is right there beating on the door. Zach Morewhite there up to second. Knocking on the door as we've got Chevy, Dodge, and Volkswagen running 1, 2, 3. William Whitmore holding that lead as well as he can, but we'll see if the 01's got anything for him. Even with the mistake there, Whitmore able to recover pretty quickly, and he's starting to drive back away from the 01. Tasha trying to close the gap here up to second. She's slowly catching and reeling in the 01 truck. A momentous run there from the 30 as she closes in just a little bit closer. Man, Whitmore made that mistake yet again, getting into the grass. That's going to open that window. The 01 going side by side for the lead here. And it's going to be a drag race down the long backstretch half of this track. He's going to have the advantage. He's going to take the lead here. And now Tasha needs to find the same opening here and attack while the opportunity is available. 29 loses a transfer. Well, not quite yet, but could potentially lose a transfer after leading half of the race. Moorwhite leads this lap here on lap 8 of 11. And Tasha, we already know, has the faster truck here. So is she going to find her way around the 29, or is the 29 going to hold her off? It really does seem like Whitmore has maybe used up his tires here towards the end of this run. That 29 not running near as good as it was 8 laps ago. In the grass yet again, that Reese's truck having some troubles here. At this rate, it's definitely going to come down to one of these 3 drivers being your top 2 to transfer into the main event. Lap traffic looking like it might factor in here shortly. Believe it or not, that lap traffic actually a teammate to Tasha, who's running in 3rd here. So could there potentially be some team tactics coming into play to help allow the 30 of Tasha getting in to the main event here? William Whitmore goes wide again, cuts it through the grass. That is slowing him down every single lap. Tasha closing back in on the back bumper of that 29 truck. Whitmore led more than half of the start here in the sprint qualifier and may very well find himself out of contention for the main event. This time around, it'll be lap 10 of 11 here in the sprint qualifier. As you see lap traffic holding up the 01 of Moorwhite there. Ooh, and that's going to allow for Whitmore to really close the gap. Look at that. 29 might be able to get his lead back after all. He's trying to go high. Whitmore closing up again on the 01. The old one's struggling to get around the lap traffic here. This is definitely what the doctor prescribed for Tasha to get her way up into the mix. The old one gets around the 82 here. And now this might be the tougher pass to be made here. Oh, and the 82 gets shoved way high. Fortunately, he kind of ran out of bravery there going through the turn, trying to hold up the leaders. So now you got the two Cartoon Network trucks side by side here as Tasha has not managed to catch all the way up to the 29. Oh, and they all go through the grass there. That lap for everyone not ideal by any means. William Whitmore running second, Tasha Wright third. And this time by, they're going to get the white flag with just one more lap to go here in the sprint qualifier. Oh, wow. Tasha actually got dropped backwards. She must have went too far into the dirt there and lost some ground. So really, your top two, unless they make a tragic mistake here on the last lap, looks like they're pretty well set here. Tasha's fallen back into the fight for fourth. As she's ultimately lost a lot of ground up to the front half of the field here. She gets by her teammate again, but the damage has already been done as she is way further away from the lead two than she's been all night. Here they come through the last segments of the track. It's going to be Zach Morewhite and William Whitmore, your top two in the sprint qualifier, as they're going to move on to the main event here tonight. Checkered flag waving. It's Zach Morewhite with the sprint qualifier win. William Whitmore led 8 laps, but comes up second. Still good enough to transfer here. Bummer break for Tasha, Ryan White, Ace Vaden, Brandon Butler, AJ Kosnoff, Wyatt Wilkinson, Drew Clue, Joao Vitor, and Paul Ladino, to name a few. A lot of these folks are going to have to try again in a week to try and qualify for the main events, as it's going to be a tough stretch here for these folks that ended up in the bottom 80, basically, from 40th on back to 80th. But at the same time, you almost got to give credit to those drivers that do come out on top tonight for being above and beyond. That just goes to show you that they truly are maybe the 41st and 42nd best driver on the week here. And they could still go out there and potentially fight for a win tonight in the main event. So, brief pause here as we get the next race set up. Congrats to Zach Morewhite and William Whitmore on being the two that transfer into the main event here tonight.
Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it. Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, folks, time for main event racing here tonight at Calder Park here in Australia. And amazingly, it is a full-on lock for the front four with Trevor Ventures, as you've got Alan Malcolm and Jordan Walker, followed by Bossman Trevor Walker and Trevor Vaden, Chaz Chadwick and Tim Cording, Tom Cording and Brian DeBlanc, Chris Harvey and Kyler Sestre, Matthew Fastnaw, and your sprint qualifier, qualifiee, William Whitmore, making it into the top 10 for qualifying here. Ant Person and James Gunner, Alex Sanvital and Noah Hobson, Zach Magoon and Guido Piano. Piano's got a little bit of work to do here as he's starting about 15th. Then you've got Gannon Bird and John Hagan, Kat Durham and Lynn Farrell, Dave Steele Jr. and Anheuser Walkner, Spinham Walker and Andrew Moger, Al Bunch and Skylar Taylor, Zach Morewhite and Jeffrey Gerald, Andre Stefan and Willow Blake, Braden Hunt and Adam Cruz, David Bird and Bradley Reed, Bailey Parker and Ralph Oberstadt, with Eli the Wolf, Rich Roy, Jack Ross, and Shy Turtle rounding out the field here tonight. 76 laps, 199 miles around Calder Park. And Trevor Ventures definitely rolling into tonight, knowing that most of the wild card races are kind of behind them. They had, all four of them had a good chunk of the leadoff seeds here, and have since given up a lot of their lead going into the chase. tonight might be a little bit different as we return to some form of normalcy in racing, that these guys can actually start to flex their muscles. Just like the sprint qualifier, it seems like the flagman is going to hold that green flag until the very last moment. These drivers raring and ready to go here tonight for the 199 miles at Calder Park. And Trevor Ventures all off to a great start here. Looks like Jordan Walker is going to get the advantage with a good push from Trevor Vaden, as Alan Malcolm and Trevor Walker have to settle into third and make that fifth as Tim Cording works his way up to fourth. So fourth place, Tim Cording. In the midst of everything here, let's see where our other big-time title contender wound up. The 19 of Guido Piano. Yikes. He got shuffled way back, almost towards the back of the field. We might want to look and see how his first lap here transpired. Dang near 4 wide for position going into the first turn. That's never ideal. Look at that. He even gets bunched up. A little bit of chaos there as he spins out the 51. They get gathered back up, and Guido Piano has got his work cut out for him here tonight, as the trucks around him they did not give him much room to play with. 51 of Zach Magoon pays the ultimate price as he rolls off last after the chaos. It's not unlike Guido Piano to have to fight from the back. We've seen that so many times out of Guido that he's still found his way up to the front before when he's fighting from his back. So first lap in the books here, Jordan Walker, your leader, Trevor Vaden, Alan Malcolm, Tim Cording, and Trevor Walker. Chaz Chadwick, Brian DeBlanc, Kyler Sestre, Tom Cording, and Chris Harvey to round out your top 10. So after the first lap, Guido Piano starts out in 29th here today. And we'll see where he starts to climb. Here we got Trevor Vaden fighting for the lead here. We've never in our 2 years of USA Trucks racing seen a top 4 finish from a team yet. Right now, still even a top 5 finish with all 4 would be a brand new record. And so as they run, could potentially see that become possibility here tonight. Trevor Ventures, obviously the stars of the show all season so far. And that's why they are in the chase here all together, fighting for a title. As they've been the toughest to beat week in, week out, whether you're on the East Coast or the West Coast. So this is really starting to turn into a good measuring contest as to who can really hold their own against 4 of the stoutest truck champion, well, not champions, but champion caliber drivers. All 4 of these drivers very much with potential to get that championship. None of them have claimed the overall championship. They have hit regular championships, especially like the regular season champions, Trevor Vaden here and Jordan Walker. But neither of those two have tallied the grand championship of them all, winning the total combined championship at the end of the season. Points are going to be interesting. It's going to be hard to follow right now as things run. So I'm not going to make any speculations this stream as to who is leading the points because I've been wrong before. Ouch, Guido Piano back to 30th now. He's not making up much ground. Looks like the 16 of Jeffrey Gerald had to make a pit stop there. He is going a lap down. We're going to have to keep an eye on that, make sure that he doesn't come out off pit road here and cause a wreck. As he now rejoins the racing surface. Right alongside David Bird and John Hagan. Blends right back into traffic like nothing happened, but he is 1 lap down now. Guido Piano gains a couple spots. He's up to 28th. But ultimately, just a tough break for the 19. He had nothing he could have done differently there on the start of the race. Just wrong place at the wrong time for Mr. Piano. Shy Turtle from dead last in qualifying all the way up to 35th so far. So he's making a slow and steady climb through the field. Uh-oh, we had a bit of an accident, it looks like, with the 95 and the 00 here. Those two might be out of the race. And it was on pit road that they had an... Well, that wasn't until after they made a mistake on the racing surface somewhere. Ooh, okay. Wow. That is how Guido Piano gains 2 spots as the 2 trucks racing in front of him wreck, fighting for 29th and 30th. Bam! Into the hay bales there. Looks like the 95 gets into the grass and then comes back into the racing line there, the 00. And that's just a brutal way to have your day come to an end here. Well, maybe not. 95 comes back out. Couple laps down, obviously. Guido Piano having to make a stop. A lot of these drivers making... I wonder if some of it had to do with the damage sustained on lap 1 here. It's kind of hard to tell just how nasty the damage actually was. Well, more and more drivers making pit stops. It looks like Guido might be able to stay on the lead lap here. As Jordan Walker continues to lead over Trevor Vaden, Alan Malcolm, Tim Cording, and Trevor Walker. Chaz Chadwick right outside the top 5 there. But a couple of your title contenders having a rough start to the night. Jordan Walker stretching out that lead on his teammates behind him here. Crazy how that works yet again here in the main event. We saw it in the sprint qualifier where the fastest driver was not the leader. We saw third place, Tasha Wright, fastest in sprint qualifier at one point. And here in the early running, it's fifth place, Trevor Walker with the fastest lap so far. Well, you just saw it live there. The 10 truck dropped off right out of the lead. I don't know what's wrong with Walker there, but that 10 truck was leading for the first 10 laps. Wow, and he makes one terrible mistake going through this segment of the racetrack here. Gets into the grass, gets out of the racing surface, and the grass slows him up so much. That gives Trevor Vaden the lead. Alan Malcolm second, and Jordan Walker has to settle on back into third here. Now he's under attack by Tim Cording for third. And man, maybe just maybe, tires are starting to wear out early in this one. Looks like the 76 Shy Turtle has to pull down pit road here. Has a bit of problems getting on pit road. That truck stalled in a terrible position there. Seems like the 76 of Shy Turtle maybe just oh, and had to get the tow truck. Wow, that's what happened. Man, almost in the same spot as the last wreck here. This zone has been dangerous for these drivers. He gets caught by the 51 and goes for one hell of a ride. Not able to drive out under his own power. He gets the tow truck. And that's where he's sitting in his pit stall on pit road there. I'll be damned. What happened to the 20 of Trevor Vaden? Had a mistake, it looks like. Wow, Trevor Vaden had to go down pit road. And maybe that's a scheduled pit stop. I'm not certain. But from the lead here. Oh, wait. Maybe 20 had a mechanical failure. I don't know, man. It doesn't show anything on the tracker, but he slowed way up like he was out of fuel or something. Oh, boy. From the lead, going on to lap traffic here, gets clobbered by the 00 of Jack Ross. And with that, they had to pull the truck down pit road to assess some of the damages there. Seems like that truck ain't as happy as it was. Didn't even get credited with leading a lap there, as they just got by Jordan Walker. We had a whole slew of racing incidents go down in the span of one lap here. Then he gets held up by the 00 coming onto pit road. They fix the damage, he's back out, but that is going to be a tough hole to dig their way out of for the 20. So go ahead and give Alan Malcolm the lead. Jordan Walker second, and Tim Cording now up to third. Trevor Walker in fourth. And up to the top five now, Kyler Sustre. Your kind of your chase spoiler here, as he missed the chase by slim margin to the likes of Tim Cording, who had a win. Tim Cording with that win knocked Kyler Sustre out of points contention on the chase here. And we already know that Kyler Sustre came out and won early on in the chase, won the first race in the chase, and yet was not a contender for the championship. So Sustre definitely trying to play that spoiler card here tonight and fight for a potential win. So Alan Malcolm holding the lead with Jordan Walker in second, Tim Cording in third. And really your top four solidly running up front here as you still have Trevor Walker within striking distance of the lead. Lap traffic still might factor into this somehow. We saw the lap traffic spoil the party for Trevor Vaden, who's now at the tail end of the field, almost about to go a lap down. He was fighting for the win here today, and now he's slotted in 38th, 13 laps into this one. Short of a miraculous caution, it's not looking likely for Vaden to get back in the mix here. Guido Piano, 36th, had some troubles, had to come down pit road and assess the damage on that truck from the lap 1 altercation he had. So many of our other... We're going to go ahead and disqualify the 00 as he's making repeated trips down pit road. So unfortunately, Jack Ross wrecked our leader, and now he's paying the ultimate price, getting sent home packing before the last lap here is run. He'll finish dead last once all the drivers sort themselves out. In the meantime, impressively, William Whitmore, who made it through the sprint qualifier, running top 15 here today. So even when it's going to be tough and you have to make it through the sprint qualifier, it's good to have a race where you can kind of make up for the downsides. And a top 15 run so far, that could be just what the doctor ordered for the 29 team. Good finish. Momentum on his side. May see more from this 29 in the next couple weeks. Obviously, he's still going to have to come through the sprint qualifier each week. But it seems like that truck's faring just fine. Racing amongst the top of the top contenders. Ooh, a little bit of change in the top 5 as Chaz Chadwick and Chris Harvey get by the 24 of Kyler Sestre here. Chaz Chadwick up to 5th. 4th, Trevor Walker. 3rd, Tim Cording. 2nd, Jordan Walker. And 1st, Alan Malcolm. Short of a few mistakes, it's definitely been a Trevor Ventures kind of race here tonight, as they still hold down 3 of the top 4 slots. That Toyota team stout in every form. They've caught up to some lap traffic here. This could spell a little bit of trouble. Alan Malcolm holding the lead right now. We'll see how he does getting around the 95 of Anheuser-Wagner here. If by any chance you're just now tuning in, you haven't missed a whole lot. The lead originally was held by Jordan Walker up into the point he made a mistake in the grass. He got too wide on one of the turns, and it slowed him up and dropped him backwards. Actually dropped him from first to third. Well, in the transition of things, Trevor Vaden took over the lead on the misfortunes of Jordan Walker, but Trevor Vaden made contact with Jack Ross, forcing him to go down pit road and make repairs to the 20 truck and falling all the way back to 38th. So now Trevor Vaden at risk of potentially getting lapped here in a couple laps possibly. Right before he almost was going to lead a lap. And since then, when all of that transpired, Alan Malcolm was able to pounce and take over the lead on the misfortunes of Jordan Walker and both Trevor Vaden. But now it's all on Alan Malcolm here. He's going to have to figure out a method to getting by this lapped truck of Walkner as he's catching up to the damaged vehicle there. This is definitely not the spot you want to catch him in. That's been where we've seen the trouble already with Vaden, with Walker. So far, so good, as he didn't catch it quite at the danger zone like last time we had someone catch lap traffic in that segment. I know for a fact Alan Malcolm definitely came in to the championship chase here with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Wow, 00. We disqualified him, yet he's still out there making laps. That's kind of crazy, actually. The 87 got DQ'd, and yet the 87 has since honored his disqualification. The 00, though, has not owned up to it. So that's an interesting problem to have. A rogue Jack Ross going rogue out there running even though he's been disqualified. This seems very much within character for Jack Ross, as we know him to be kind of a loose cannon, a ticking time bomb, and I think the only way he's going to retire here tonight is if he gets put in the wall. No way. He goes around and collects the 12 of Chris Harvey and continues to... Oh my goodness. It's a good thing I kept my camera on the 00 there of Jack Ross, because I had a feeling that something like that was going to transpire there. Holy cow, man. Sigma officials There's not a lot you can do when you've got a loose cannon like Jack Ross. Man, bam. And then the 24 with nowhere to go collides with the already contacted 12. Ow, Chris Harvey gets thrown like a top there, spins around. Seems like the 12 truck should be fine out of all of that ordeal. But Jack Ross creates another moment here tonight at Calder Park, whereas he probably shouldn't even be out there on the racetrack. It's almost going to require a stoppage of this race to get him off the racetrack, it seems. By golly, he's still out there. I'm going to try to disqualify him again. This could be very scary for everyone involved in tonight's race here, as Jack Ross, the misguided missile, continues to strike left and right. Unfortunately, I feel like the 24 might have sustained enough damage to be forced to retire here tonight. Yep, accident. 18th place. He'll drop all the way back to about 41st. Man, that's brutal. We do have a new second place driver as Tim Cording gets by Jordan Walker for second. And just like that, you've got a brand new leader as Tim Cording took advantage of the very tough spot there in the track where we've seen Jordan Walker make the same mistake. Alan Malcolm made the mistake there and lost the lead just like Jordan Walker did. And now you all see exactly why this track is on the calendar for the chase. Very unpredictable. A lot of shenanigans do play out here. It's not a lot, it's not just like any standard road course race where you just follow the leader all day. This battle at the front of the field has transpired organically without any wrecks or chaos to totally upset the running order. Tim Cording methodically has picked them off one by one by one. He started behind 3 Trevor Ventures trucks and now has all 3 of them behind him. And it could very well still pan out that lap traffic spoils a lot of the racing here, but at least the lead change here was natural and organic. Tim finally makes his way around the lap traffic there of Walkner, whereas Alan Malcolm had the lead and had the task of getting by the 95 and could not do so. So perhaps Tim Cording with the Volkswagen power here today found a little bit extra when they set up that truck for tonight's race here at Calder Park, as he's beaten 3 of the toughest contenders in the chase here tonight. Looks like we might have finally seen the end of the terror from Jack Ross. No, I spoke too soon. He's still out there holding up a very, very terrible pace at this point, folks, I don't know what else I can do to fix this 00. Is just out there playing bumper cars. Jack Ross out there on a drunken stupor in the 00 car. Truck, I mean. Wow. And then way back at the start of the race, I'm trying to figure out exactly. Wow, 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 wow. Man, it is ugly, the 00. So he was dead end on the field at the start of the race here. And he makes it through, pretty much gaining a good ground at the start of the race here. But where does it all come unraveled? From dead last to 24th, so he made it halfway through the field on lap 1 alone. Strategically, I just couldn't quite remember exactly where all that damage came from. I think it would have been our one hay bale zone where we've seen so many of the drivers get taken out today. Okay, yeah, it was. It was the first wreck of the race. Him and the 95 of Walkner. And since then, Jack Ross just doing Jack Ross things. Tim Courting, Alan Malcolm, and now Jordan Walker and Trevor Walker making their way around Anheuser there. The lap traffic. Tim Courting has to play it extra safe here as he knows exactly what's going on. His radio has been telling him, his team, crew chief, and everyone telling him stay as far away from that 00 as you can. He is reckless and avoiding the call from the tower here tonight. Just like that, Alan Malcolm from the front of the field making his pit stop here on lap 23. That would be pretty good to get through 1/3 of the race here today. So 23:46, you would be looking at your last pit stop being around lap 60. Actually, maybe closer to lap 70. And Jack Ross is totally messing this race up here, folks. I don't know what else to do. The scoring tower has even stopped counting laps for Jack Ross, so he's just out there lingering like a ghost. If I could hop into my own truck, I would, and I'd go out there and take him out, but unfortunately, once you retire. You can't get back in the truck. So the 00, we're just going to have to hope desperately that he gets knocked out of this race. Here we go. We're going to keep our eyes on Jack Ross here because I have a feeling things are going to get ugly here. Him and Ralph Oberstadt. Oh, and he gets taken way out by the 15. Maybe a little bit of help from LFG brass upstairs. Maybe giving Hobson a bit of a heads up to take the 00 out of this race. Man, he kind of paid the price there, though. The front end of his 15 truck wadded up a little bit. But I don't think that's going to be enough to get Jack Ross out of this one. Well, during green flag pit stops here, Tim Cording takes over the lead. Jordan Walker in second. Third, Trevor Walker. Fourth, Alan Malcolm. And what looks like fifth will be James Gunner. I do think Tim Cording's made his pit stop. Yep, he just made it on this last lap. So he comes out with the Alrighty, as we're going to have the next lap here under full pace, since green flag pit stops, Tim Cording will have the lead here. I was going to see lap times and try to get an idea for who has the faster lap times right now. Tim Cording going to come across the line. He's going to have a 153.4. Go back to second, Jordan Walker, if he's got anything better than that. He's got a 155.0. And then 154.1 out of Alan Malcolm. 154.2 from Trevor Walker. Go ahead and give Tom Cording an upgrade here as he's worked his way up into 5th. Chaz Chadwick falls back to 6th here. Fastnaw and Gunner fighting 7th and 8th. Going through the very tight turn here at the hay bale section. It's going to be Fastnaw taking over from Gunner. Cat Durham and Ant Meeperson rounding out your top 10. Chris Harvey, even with the damage on that truck, comes back to running in 13th here. And there you have Jack Ross. There might be some hefty penalties handed out at the end of the race here. That 00 now ignoring 2 black flag waves. Obviously the black flag waved and they have stopped counting laps. They have pulled his ticker, but that's the least of our problem right now. He's out there causing wrecks on track that should not be happening. It's pretty sad that this is the highlight of the race, that we have to follow the 00 of Jack Ross to see just what he's going to do next. Wow, Trevor Vaden, after the turmoil that he's been through, has worked his way back up to 18th here. If we get another altercation here with the 00, we might have to throw the caution flag and see if that gives him the full-blown boot. Yeah, he's causing another bit of a accident here. Oh, the 16. I would honestly just hope someone could put him in the wall for the last time here tonight, but it's not looking like it's going to happen. In the meantime, we kind of cycle back up to the front of the field, and it is still Tim Cording who just turned a 152.5. Everyone actually turning some of their fastest laps this last lap around. Jordan Walker with a 152.8. Top 2 drivers just turned their fastest lap. Not the fastest lap of the race. That still belongs to Trevor Walker, who's running in 4th. But ultimately, Tim Cording looking to make up the most ground here tonight, whereas he is kind of set pretty deep in the championship battle right now. He just went from 10th to 6th in the last race from JGIR. So he's kind of climbing back out of that hole that he got put into. As he sits in 6th in the points right now, he's definitely going to get by Alex Sanvital up to 5th. May very well get by Guido Piano for 4th. And so then you would be looking at about Jordan Walker, Trevor Walker, and Trevor Vaden as your top 3. But there's still a lot of racing that could totally change the outcome here tonight at Calder Park. You got Jack Ross just kind of hanging around in the background here. And Jordan Walker is going to catch him at a terrible spot in the track yet again. Trevor Ventures hoping that the 00 does not mess up another one of their drivers' night here tonight. Wow! No way, no way. There goes two of the Trevor Ventures trucks there getting kind of clobbered together. 00, like the Terminator, just continues to keep on ticking here tonight. Man. Okay, we're going to go ahead and throw the yellow here. And I really, really hope the 00, this might be our only opportunity to get him gone. As the caution flag waves, we're going to get mid-race break here. Yeah, just like that, Jordan Walker nowhere to be seen. The 10 of Jordan Walker. So the 29 gets in an accident. The 40 had a camshaft failure. Blown engine, or rather, blown camshaft here from Bradley Ream. I wonder if he tries to make it all the way around the track and collect someone else. By golly, he tries his hardest here to stay out of the way. Okay, so the 40 does not. What happened to the 29 and the 31? Eli the Wolf, one lap later. Eli the Wolf comes off pit road here. He's already slow. Oh, wow. Just a sitting roadblock there. Bam! And that put an end of the day for those two. That's actually quite crazy that that was enough damage out of the tin truck that he had to remove his whole front hood here. Man, ow, maybe it's just the head-on collision there with the 00 that caused the majority of that damage. Bam! So from second, Jordan Walker has to go down pit road. Gets his hood removed. And continues onward. From 22nd. Yeah, this is untreaded territory for our USA trucks. We've never had a driver belligerently ignore his disqualification for the entirety of the race here. So Jack Ross, after getting the DQ thrown at him 3 times, is going to continue on and continue to play spoiler in this race somehow. As Sigma officials, there's nothing they can do. You can't just walk out there and pull the keys out of his truck. He's a man of his own volition right now, and it's not going to be pretty after tonight what happens for that 00 truck. Well, a little bit of change at the front of the field here as we're going to get set for the restart right at about midway here. And brief pause as we save replay footage here. So it's going to be Chaz Chadwick, James Gunner, Kat Durham, Ant Meeperson, and Lynn Farrell leading them to the restart here. As majority of your leaders came down pit road to pit during the caution and get fresh tires, full tank of gas. Things are definitely a little bit shooken up right now, as your leader Tim Cording drops all the way back to about 18th, followed by the rest of the takers for 4 tires and gas at the back half of the field. 18th on back, they're going to have to charge through the field. Obviously your leader Chaz Chadwick and those guys on a different fuel strategy here. They're going to have to pit at different intervals here. I'm going to break this game. Man, what the heck, dude? Well, at least he's going to be restarting towards the furthest end of the track that he can from the leaders, as they should be getting doubled up for the restart. Impressive, William Whitmore, still one of your sprint qualifier graduates, making it into the top 10 here tonight, fighting for a great finish in that number 29 truck. Whoops, a little bit of a mistake there out of Chadwick. As long as he gets back going here, that's... There he goes. He gets back in the gas, gets back to his position. 32 having a mistake as well. This is going to be an ugly restart. They get sorted. They get sorted. Man, was looking like a bad restart was going to happen there, but we're getting it back on track as the green flag waves here on lap 33 to get these guys back and rolling. Chadwick roars into turn 1 here alongside James Gunner. Gunner gets the advantage now. It's going to be Gunner with the lead. Chadwick with second. Ant Meeperson up to third. And go ahead and throw William Whitmore up into the top 5 for the first time tonight. That number 29, Reese's entry, putting on a good show for the crowd. He had to work his way from the sprint qualifiers here tonight, but putting on as good of a run in the main event as any of them. Ooh, and he got a little bit high there and got shuffled backwards. Looks like he might still slot into 5th, though. Yep, 5th is going to be where he gets back into. And we've got a new race on our hands here, as James Gunner currently out front leading over Chaz Chadwick, Ant Meeperson, Kat Durham, and William Whitmore. Damn, still out there rolling. Rolling roadblock is what he is. Well, it was worth a try to throw that caution and see if it would get rid of the 00, but just no luck here tonight. I wonder... See, I think what the problem is the 00 cannot get to pit road and get to his pit stall, perhaps, if the 76 is blocking his pit stall. We already know that Jack Ross was dead last at the back half of the field. He qualified 41st, and Shy Turtle qualified 42nd. So that means his pit stall's right there in front of the 76, but he cannot get to it. Every time he comes down pit road, there's no way to get on his pit stall because the 76 is blocking it. Now, realistically, the 00 should run out of gas eventually. But I don't know if the game is causing him to let off the fuel to try and save some gas to make it all the way to the finish. And that's probably why he's coasting. See, that's why he comes right there, stops behind the 76. He's trying to get to his pit stall, but he cannot. Very weird. And he goes right back on his merry way. Bam, hits the wall. And that would be where it'd be nice if you could actually force a mechanical error on the field right now. Oh no, he's going to come back out amongst the leaders. Got to keep a close eye on this again. Definitely don't want to be keeping such a close eye on this. We shouldn't even have to. And he's coming out into a very, very high traffic area here. Everyone's driving around him. So far, so good. Just gets a little bit of contact there with Lynn Farrell. But for the most part, looks like we're going to see just about everyone work their way around him. Yeah, that's a little bit better anyways. We wouldn't have had quite that fortune if we had let the race stay green for the whole time. So in the meantime, we got to start looking at these leaders and what their next strategy call might be. If they're going to be able to make it with one less stop now as everyone else, or if they're going to be cutting it close. Ooh, we might have ourselves a winner here. 00 Jack Ross might have just ran out of gas. And that could be the end of the day for the frickin' wrecking ball that has been as he was coming onto pit road here. Did the circle of death that's often associated with running out of gas in NR2003. As you see him coasting onto pit road here and starts going in reverse. That's usually the sign that you've run it out of gas. And he has pipped off the screen, so we can return to some normal racing here tonight without Jack Ross going out there decidingly wrecking every truck that comes around him. And honestly, that caution we threw, really the only thing that's upset the running order here tonight. Basically our top 15 stayed out on this last caution, and majority of your leaders all pitted. So that's going to put them on a stint of their own. Your leaders taking that opportunity to get the undercut on the rest of the folks. So these leaders, as they run right now, they're going to have to pit again. Pit strategies always tend to unfold in very intriguing ways. Tim Cording, whom was one of the first drivers that came down pit road during that caution, he was in 18th. He's already worked himself up to 6th. The rest of the drivers on that stint, you've got Trevor Walker now up to 7th. Now Tim Cording up to 5th. Trevor Walker up to 6th. These are two of your drivers with fresher tires, fresher tank of gas. And as they start moving through the field, your leaders are going to have to pit again. It's just a matter of time before we find out who's got the winning strategy on the fuel mileage numbers here. At the moment, Tim Cording just playing cat and mouse with the slower traffic in front of him, picking them off one by one. Yep, so this is definitely where it gets exciting, is seeing the altering pit strategies play out here. We know that our leaders are going to definitely be slower, but that doesn't mean they have the losing strategy here either. Our top two still, James Gunner, Chaz Chadwick, but very, very close in the background. You can see that 90 of Tim Cording, just kind of like a shark in the background there. Alan Malcolm, another one of those drivers that had made the pit stop on the caution here. You can see him a little bit further back. He's up into the top 10, following right behind the boss man, Trevor Walker. And now third place under attack here. Ant Me Person having to hold off a hard charging Tim Corning with fresh rubbers. Looks like he's going to make the pass here and almost get towards the side of the 13. Side by side through the hay bales here. Even behind that, you've got the 22 of Durham and the 21 of Walker side by side through the hay bales. Tim Corning has to fall back in line behind the 13, as well as Trevor Walker having to fall in line right behind the 22. Here goes again, a pass for position. Oh, and that's going to be it. That bump to the grass is all that the 90 needed. Trevor Walker as well, utilizing that turn to make the pass and get by the 22. And now, Tim Corning back up to third here. It's only a matter of time before he catches up to the slower leaders here of James Gunner and Chaz Chadwick. See, I've always kind of thought it'd be interesting to see what happens when you have a driver that does not adhere to the law of the race. Think about it in reality, no driver would be dumb enough to stay out after they get the black flag, because there could be stricter penalties and overall even potential for race bans, fines, or even restrictions going forward. We actually got to see it play out here tonight in an NR2003 race where a driver was ignoring his disqualification and still continued to go out there even though he was disqualified. The laps did not count. He was not out there racing for position anymore. He was simply out there for vengeance for whatever matter. We may never know what's going on in the head of Jack Ross, and maybe Jack Ross didn't even know what's going on in his own head. But the menace has been put to sleep for tonight at least, and I think we're in for a treat of a race here, as strategies are going to help kind of play out the remainder of this race as to who could get the job done. Definitely a few lap trucks here holding up the pace of the leaders. Well, there you have it. Chaz Chadwick having to come down pit road. We can see where his strategy has unfolded a little bit. So, based on my math, Chaz Chadwick can make it to lap 69 of 76. And that ain't necessarily going to be the winning move here tonight, I don't think. But we'll see how much longer James Gunner can stay out here. James Gunner could potentially stretch it to about lap 71. But I think that ultimately goes to show you that our leaders that did pit on this last caution, they're looking to make it on just one more stop. Those couple drivers that did stay out during the caution, they're still going to need potentially some caution laps or other factors to come into play here. Yep, 32 of James Gunner. He's probably only going to be good to about lap 70, where he's going to have to come in with 5 laps to go at the end of the race. So things shuffle around to Tim Cording, your new leader. As second place, Trevor Walker. Third place, Alan Malcolm, which is right about back to where we were before all the shenanigans unfolded. Kat Durham. Man, Jordan Walker fighting for 6th place right now with Braden Hunt. As 5th place, where is 5th place? Oh, James Gunner still had 5th place on pit road there. So Jordan Walker actually fighting for 5th with Braden Hunt. Trevor Ventures working their way back up towards the front of the field. The only driver that has not been able to recover from misfortune here tonight would be the 20 of Trevor Vaden, where he got spun out while he was leading the race earlier in this one. So, Tim Cording, this last lap, he turned a 154.9 to Trevor Walker's 154.6. So, Trevor was about 3 tenths faster there. Slower lap traffic, I think, holding up Tim Cording just a tad here. As well as, well, you got some lap traffic holding up the likes of Trevor Walker as well. Wow, Trevor just turned a 153.6. Yeah, and Tim Cording turned a 153.3. So the top 2 drivers laying down some blistering laps here in the middle of the race. Wow, so we've got Trevor Ventures running 2-3-4 yet again here. And obviously a little bit rougher for the wear. It just goes to show you how stout this team is. Even when you've got the wrecking ball that was Jack Ross throwing a wrinkle in their game plan here tonight, they have still found their way up to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th against all odds. So this has been a trial. And I think we're definitely seeing championship kind of a resurgence here. We're seeing grit and determination out of the teams here tonight, especially out of Trevor Ventures' camp. Alan Malcolm at one point was leading the race here tonight. Trevor Walker, the only one of them that has not led at the front of the field. So earlier in the race, it was Trevor Walker running 5th, had the fastest lap, but now all of a sudden it's Jordan Walker with the fastest lap, and he's running in 4th. So the tables kind of flip-flop there just a little bit, but that 21 truck still looking a little bit quicker, I would say, than the 90, who has the lead right now. Yeah, there you go. It's about half a second quicker that past lap over Tim Cording. Keeping it interesting here. You kind of have to factor in tire age, degradation, and all that right now. The 90 truck's probably used up his tires just a little bit extra at the front of the field, so the 21 with an opportunity to pounce here. Wow, Chadwick and Gunner still come back out 21st and 22nd, even after making their late race pit stops here. We know that the like before, the leaders now are gonna have to make one more pit stop. Oops, and Tom Cording from 9th place, suffering a mechanical failure there. He done blew her up from 9th place. Hopefully that doesn't spell certain doom for his brother, who's up front and leading the race right now. I imagine the Cording was that fire that spit out of the... Oh, the wheels are red. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, their in-car radio definitely relaying the message to his brother to let him know to be careful not to push the engine too hard here. Your brother with the same engine just blew her up. Trevor desperately needs to get around this 56 truck as soon as possible. It's holding him up and causing him to lose time to the leader. Jordan Walker kind of out there in a zip code of his own right now, running in 4th. It's pretty crazy. Even with a wounded truck, he's faster than majority of the field. But even with Trevor Walker having trouble with lap traffic, Tim Cording sharing the struggles here, as he cannot seem to get around the 01 here of Zach Morewhite. Trevor Walker still turned a faster lap that time, last lap by. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 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 2 minutes and 30 seconds And honestly, this is only allowed for Alan Malcolm to keep tight there for, oh, and Alan, or rather Tim Cording tries to go too wide there, gets shoved into the grass by the 01. I don't know if this was a mistake made by Tim Cording, but he tries to go on the outside and gets shafted into the grass there. That's going to slow him up significantly, as he tried to make the pass on the 01 and it did not pan out. Honestly, I think for Trevor Walker, he's probably making the best move, not pushing the envelope here, just kind of riding and biding his time behind the 56 of Andre Stefan. Man, even with that, 90 starting to stretch it back out again. As we're down to 27 laps left to go. The magic number is going to be 23 laps to go. And by that, I mean drivers will be able to pit and get enough fuel to run 23 laps. So if you get past the 23 lap mark, you'll be golden. Be able to race the rest of the way to the finish here tonight without having to worry about gas. Side by side again against the lap truck here. The 01 of More White. Oh, and made a clip on the 90 there. Man, the lap traffic here tonight has been something fierce. Has not been easy for any driver to just drive around the lap traffic here. That 01 gave him a little bit of the business. And now it's going to be up to Trevor Walker on making the move here on the 56 as soon as possible before that 90 truck starts to cruise away at the front of the field. And just like that, Tim Cording with clear track in front of him turns a 154.9. Compare that up to Trevor Walker, who just turned a 155.4. Here he is trying to go for that pass in the hay bale section again, and it does not pan out. Wow, Gannon Bird up to 5th here. That's an impressive turnaround from that team. One of our championship contenders with a tall order to fulfill to get up into the points battle. Gannon Bird could potentially secure some well-needed points here tonight at Calder Park. Dave Steele Jr. as well behind him. Then you got Skylar Taylor, Alex Sanvital, Andrew Moger, Ralph Oberstadt, Adam Cruz, Willow Blake with a solid top 15 run so far. Chris Harvey, David Bird, Brian DeBlank, Jeffrey Gerald, Trevor Vaden still slowly climbing his way through the field. Back up to 17th. Right now he's fighting with the drivers that have fresh tires, or at least in relation to the 20 truck, that is. 32 is going to shuffle around to being your leader here probably in about 10 laps, with Chaz Chadwick to shuffle around to second. 26 laps to go. It's definitely going to be interesting to see when our leaders come down pit road for the final time here tonight. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility Oh, we had a swap for second here as Alan Malcolm gets by Trevor Walker. Walker back to third as Brother Jordan sitting in fourth. Methodically picking off some clean laps here in that number 10 truck, trying to catch up to the front of the field. But it's definitely not outside the realm of possibility that the likes of James Gunner or Chaz Chadwick could be saving some fuel right now to actually push it to the finish. They're about 6 laps shy, which is going to be a lot of fuel saving here at a road course. But even if they can save 3 laps and come down pit road for a quick gas and go, they might be able to turn a what would have been about a 30th or worse finish here on the day into a potential top 15, maybe even a top 10. So still might not be the winning strategy, but there's really always still a chance that something could improve here for those that are on the undercut strategy. Well, I said 23 was going to be the magic number. Tim Cording coming down pit road with 24 laps to go. Yeah, it's tight. I don't know if that's going to be enough fuel. As Trevor Ventures stays out, it's going to hand the lead over to Alan Malcolm here. Man, and I'm going to have to do my my number crunching here real quick like. So if we go back and see, I'm pretty sure it was lap 23 when we saw the first pit stop for Tim Cording. Wrong Cording. It's a very easy mistake to make. Yeah, 24. Yeah, it's gonna be close, because if that's the case, he's basically saying he can make it 24 more laps. That does not equate for any overtime. If there's potential that we get a caution that could really spoil things here at the end. What I do think, though, is the big brain move here from Tim Cording. He wanted to get back out there on fresh tires as quickly as he could so that he could be racing against the likes of Chaz Chadwick and James Gunner here. And as you can see, he's right there in contention to take the lead over already. But yeah, definitely he's going to have to stretch it, and he ain't going to have any wiggle room. Unlike a couple guys here that are staying out as long as they can, you've got Alan Malcolm, Trevor Walker, whom are stretching it a little bit longer to try and get the sweet spot when they come down pit road and have as much fuel pretty much to run all the way to the finish and run non-stop when they get out of the pit stall. I almost kind of feel like the hay bale turns have been the nemesis for quite a few of the drivers here tonight. So our leader is stretching it just a little bit further here. We'll see if they maybe come down pit road this time by. Looks like, I think Jordan Walker might have made his pit stop already too. That 10 truck 33 seconds back. We're going to see. Not going to take it this time, so they're going to go even further here. Yeah, Jordan Walker, last lap by, went down pit road for his pit stop. It looks like he probably is going to shuffle out about 21st. But in relation to the rest of the competition, could potentially be second in line to Tim Cording at the moment, as the rest of the field in between those guys are yet to pit. There we got another taker down pit road, the 85, the 77. And here we're looking at Tim Cording, Ant Me Person. Wow, Chaz Chadwick and James Gunner stretching it out here on the likes of Tim Cording. And I don't know how that happened, actually. I thought that Tim Cording was right within striking distance of the 18 truck. Wow, he had pretty much had two terrible laps there. No, they don't count the, because right here is one lap on pit road, and his back up to speed lap was with cold tires. It just took a little longer to get up to speed, it seems. But after that, he's back and rolling at about 155s. Oh, James Gunner makes a mistake. This could potentially be for a race win or the lead. As you see, the 32 here gets alongside the 05 of Adam Cruz, our Brazilian driver. And this spot on the racetrack has been problematic here tonight. James Gunner better consider himself lucky that he didn't get wrecked out of it. But he's going to miss out on a couple spots there as Chaz Chadwick gets around. Chris Harvey as well. Adam Cruz, which most likely is going to have to pit. Yep, there he goes down pit road. So now your leader, Chris Harvey for a moment. Chaz Chadwick fighting for that lead. Chris Harvey's going to hold it. Those two teammates duking it out for the overall first place. But are they going to have enough fuel? Are they even going to have enough space on track to keep Tim Cording behind them? Tim Cording clear of traffic now. All he's got to do is start setting down some quick laps. And unfortunately, Chaz Chadwick and James Gunner, they're going to be sitting ducks here. The crazy part is our leaders, I guess, Trevor Walker's staying out yet another lap. We did lose Alan Malcolm from the front of the field, so Malcolm pitted last lap. Trevor Walker pitting this lap. And Dave Steele Jr. still out there all on his own. He's been running, pretty much lost about 5 seconds of pace, but he's going to be able to stretch it a little bit further. He'll have fresher tires for the last 20 lap stint of this race. Just like Trevor Walker, who was out front there. So Chaz Chadwick, James Gunner, and now Tim Cording. We're going to actually have to keep an eye on the 21 here and see where Trevor Walker shakes out in relation to the 90. Taking those 4 tires, it's going to be a little hard here to get back out with the 90 as he's taking the hay bale turn. 22 of Durham, the 13 of Aunt Me Person, and here comes Trevor Walker. Does have fresh tires though, and those should be good for some quicker laps against the 90, but it's going to take a couple laps to get warmed up here. So in the meantime, Chaz Chadwick, 20 laps to go here. Oh wow, yeah, this getting back up to speed lap is always tough for these trucks. Those cold tires, it takes a good lap to get the heat back in them. Trevor Walker loses a spot there to Spin'em Walker. He's under attack here by Guido Piano, but both of these drivers definitely, they're going to have to pit either this lap or next lap. So even if he gets passed by him, he can just kind of settle in and do his own thing. He's got Alan Malcolm right there beside him. So he does have a little bit of teammate help. The 9 just pitted a lap earlier than him. So those two kind of hook up and start heading towards the front now. And this is where things are going to start get interesting, as we know very well Tim Cording has the better tires, the better strategy call at the moment. But is he going to be able to make the pass in a timely manner here and not lose too much momentum fighting for this lead? You do got to kind of factor in, if he ain't able to get by these guys quickly enough, that could allow the 4th, 5th place drivers to start closing the gap. And even greater, it'll allow for folks that have the fresher tires, like Trevor Walker and Alan Malcolm, to really get back into the mix here. Alan Malcolm up to 8th. Guido Piano in 9th. Trevor Walker in 10th. Guido Piano, I think, is going to have to make at least one more pit stop, so that's not much of a hassle there for Trevor Walker. He didn't have to fight this fight right now. I wonder where Jordan Walker wound up after all this. Up to 15th. So once the strategy calls kind of factored in, the 10 still running top 15 here tonight. Whoops, Andrew Moger on pit road, so that's probably a scheduled pit stop. Oh, Tim Cording got by James Gunner, so now Cue that Jaws theme yet again. Tim Cording on the hunt here for the lead. It's going to be about 17 laps to go this time by. It's just too many laps for Chaz Chadwick to hold off this 90 truck. We have seen this form of domination out of Tim Cording before. It's been a long time since we've seen it, but it's definitely always been relevant. It's always been there. There we go, the 18 Chadwick giving him hell, trying to fight for that lead and keep the position going into the very fast segment of the track here. He's going to try to hold off that 90. Here he comes. Wow, the 90 blows around the outside, and it looks like Tim Cording gonna steal the lead away from Chaz Chadwick going into the second set of hay bale turns here. Well, it was fun while it lasted for the 18 team. We knew for a fact that it was not likely to be a winning move, but it definitely helped him get some lead laps here today. And if he can keep rolling, he might still be able to secure a top 10, top 15 out of it. But holy cow, man, Tim Cording has been on a different level here tonight. These guys didn't seem to stand a chance against this 90 Volkswagen. We did see a mechanical failure out of his brother Tom Cording. Mechanical failure that forced him to retire here tonight. And all Tim's going to have to do now is close out the final 16 laps of this race with minimal mistakes. Trevor Walker up to 7th after getting around a couple of the slower slower alternate strategy drivers there. Bailey Parker, Spinham Walker, Guido Piano. Must have got held up by Andre Stefan, I imagine. And this chase points battle is going to continue to stay pretty volatile after tonight's race here, keeping things tight and interesting. And the only thing that could get interesting here is if Tim Cording pitted too early. We know that 24 is right about his stint, and I'm surprised he pitted as early as he did, that he didn't try to stretch it even just a little bit longer here. Clearly, we're not likely to see a green-white checkered, but if we had a green-white checkered, there's no way that this 90 truck could make it to the finish. Oops, so we have a number 56 truck off the race surface there. Andre Stefan goes for a bit of a ride with Guido Piano. Ouch! Ooh. Looks like Guido Piano is going to be able to keep going onward here. But instead of running in 10th, it looks like he's going to get shuffled backwards. And that is a rough break, because that 19 was having a decent turnaround here. Looking like he was going to minimize points lost here tonight at Calder Park. But gets knocked all the way back to 20th after that ordeal. 29th, actually. Ouch. Once they come across the start-finish line, 28th. There we go. Jordan Walker getting a couple more spots here now, up to 13th. Oh, he gets pushed way wide into the grass there. He's going to lose a spot. Alan Malcolm closing in on Ant Me Person and Kat Durham here for 4th and 5th. Yep, James Gunner, well, Chaz Chadwick having to pit now, but James Gunner staying out another lap, it looks like. As we're down to just 14 laps to go. You're really kind of looking at potentially our winner here tonight being Tim Cording. But does he have enough fuel? We know there's a couple trucks further back with much fresher tires that the advantage is going to start kicking in here pretty quickly. Alan Malcolm just turned a 153.0. Compare that up to Tim Cording, about 0.7 a second slower. If he keeps losing nearly a full second a lap, they'll be up there within no time racing for the win. Now, Tim Cording, he's going to be tasked with trying to make to the finish on what fuel is in his tank. So we're going to start seeing this 90 truck slow up a little bit to try and save fuel. But on the quite flip side, reverse of that, the Trevor Ventures trucks are going to be racing throttle, basically full throttle, pedal to the metal for the 9 and the 21. There we go, another taker down pit road. James Gunner, Kat Durham, Ant Me Person. Those were the rest of the drivers that were trying to stretch it as long as they could here. And so that's going to put Alan Malcolm up to 2nd. Trevor Walker in 3rd. And clean track in front of them here, as they're going to have to start hunting down the 90 of Tim Cording. In the midst of this, up to 4th is Gannon Bird. 5th, Spinham Walker. 6th, Jordan Walker. Holy cow, man. He's still hunting down potentially a top 5 here tonight with that overly damaged number 10 machine. 13 laps remain, and there's still a lot that could still unravel here. But it seems a lot like the cream is rising to the top for Trevor Ventures. The rest of your pit stops have occurred. That wraps Jordan Walker around back up into 4th here. We saw this running order just before the last stint of pit stops. So 12 laps still. There's a lot of racing, and I don't know how many people are going to be able to make to the finish, but I do know for a fact Alan Malcolm and Trevor Walker pushed it as far as they could to put themselves in a better situation here in the closing laps. 11 laps now. Tim Cording with the lead turned a 154.1. Second place, Alan Malcolm, who is 16 seconds back, turns a 153.4 and chops off 0.7 of a second there. Not going to be enough at that rate. He's going to have to knock off more than a second each lap right now to even get there behind the 90 truck. And then passing will be a whole different story. Wow, that fastest lap is ping-ponged around now. At one point, Jordan Walker turned the fastest lap with his damaged truck, it seemed. A 152.534. Let's see exactly which lap that was, because this is going to be interesting to see when he turned a 152.5. Consistent, very consistent with his lap times there. He must have said it right before he got wrecked. So I'm not seeing. I thought it was weird that he turned a 152.534. Yep, it was his last lap before he got in the man, and that lap might have been he might have even had a better lap after that if he hadn't got dinged up in the Jack Ross debacle here. So his last lap before that was a 152.534, which stood as the fastest lap. And I thought it was weird that I didn't notice that fastest lap until after his truck was damaged. But the fastest lap has since ping-ponged back to his brother. Down to just 10 laps to go. The lead, 14.7 seconds. As Tim Cording kind of out there in a zip code of his own right now, with no traffic in front of him, no traffic behind him. Trevor Vaden, this is definitely the strategy that's going to give him the best opportunity for a finish here today, as the long green flag run has allowed him to get back into the top 15 and minimize the points that he was potentially going to lose today. Running right there behind David Bird. Cat Durham, we just saw pitted late in the running. Chris Harvey, James Gunner, Chaz Chadwick. Like I said, it may not have been the winning strategy, but it's definitely going to be a great finish here tonight. Top 10, maybe even a top 5 with some luck here. By golly, though, I mean, what if our leaders start running out of fuel here in the last laps? That's very possible. Heck, Chaz Chadwick should be up to 7th, as he got by the 85 there. That's Willow Blake in 6th. Who was 7th? The 09 of Fastnot must have came down pit road. Wow, Chaz Chadwick almost already in a top 5 position. Dave Steele Jr. running in 5th at the moment. That's going to be a huge improvement for this team. Jordan Walker still running in 4th. Tim Cording still holds a 14-second lead over Alan Malcolm here. And wow, that was potentially an attempt at a pass for position there, but Alan Malcolm held the line, kept 2nd from Walker there. But I do think that Trevor Walker may have the faster truck between these two. They kind of have to cooperate here and not try to race each other yet. They need to wait until they've either caught up to Tim Cording or Cording is showing signs of slowing down even more. James Gunner with another trip down pit road, perhaps a little bit of damage, maybe a wreck that he was involved in. Oh yeah, there's definitely some damage there, and I think maybe with the 85, I'm thinking it's going to be in our hot zone where we've seen all the wrecks here today, right about there. No? They, oh wow, yep, 100%. The hot zone that we've seen all the wrecks happen, those are 2 more title contenders in the mix here. 85 and the 32 both get into it. Kiss the hay bales there. Take pretty sizable amount of damage to the front end of those trucks. And so they both continue on. They both take off their front nose clips. And your lead is still 13.5 seconds in favor of Tim Cording. Now, his lap times are going to start dropping off the face of a cliff here. 154.9. Next lap, a 154.9 again. At least he's being consistent even when the lap times are falling off. Second place is going to turn a 154.1. So 0.8 faster there. Good to put him at 12.6 seconds behind the lead. But 7 laps remain. They're still not knocking it off quickly enough to catch up to that 90 truck. They're going to have to start finding seconds out there on the racing surface. But like I said, those lap times are going to fall off a cliff here pretty rapidly for that 90 truck. And I do not anticipate to even see potential for competition at the front of the field with anywhere short of 1 or 2 laps left to go. And he goes wide there, gets into the grass. That's going to slow him up some more. That 90 truck not handling as well towards the end of this long green flag run that they're on. Coming through the last couple technical turns of the racetrack. It's going to be 6 laps to go And that means he's going to have to stretch it 6 laps. Very tight on the fuel window that they gave him. Wow, just like that, he turns a 155.1. And second place, Malcolm turns a 154.4. So still only about 7/10 of a second there. 11.9. Man, he needs to gain some ground quicker. Ooh, this could spell some trouble. Well, I guess not anywhere directly near our leader, but if it were, that could have helped slow up the 90 a little bit here. Thanks, folks, for staying tuned on this well, it ain't seemingly, it is definitely a longer truck race than what we're used to. Part of the chase, we kind of, pull out all stops and getting some more full-length truck races featured. And it's pretty much given us a lot to talk about here tonight. There's been strategy, there's been shenanigans, there's been carnage and chaos. And we're still just 5 laps short of finishing this one here tonight. And the guy that's leading the race with 5 laps to go is not guaranteed to win this race even. So many twists and turns, just like the road course itself. We're set up for a great finish here. Yeah, and then the rest of the field dropping off the face of the map on intervals as well. Tim Cording turned a 155.4. Malcolm turned a 154.7. So with just 5 laps to go, he's got 11-second gap to close here. Tim Cording definitely kind of rolled into the chase with kind of a spoiler mindset. They missed majority of the regular season, had 1 win lock their way in, and they're playing on house money right now. So that 90 team, they're just going to be glad to get as many points and potential wins as possible. Gets passed back over by the 16 here of Jeffrey Gerald. As next time by, it's going to be 4 laps to go here at Calder Park. There we go, 156.2 out of Tim Cording. I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the finish here without having to be forced down pit road. That lap, Alan Malcolm knocked out 1 full second, 1.6 seconds on the leader, and has now dropped it down to just 10 seconds the gap. So if he can knock out another 2 seconds each lap right now, he's going to be close, but it's still going to be an ordeal to get around that number 90 truck. Yeah, in the midst, Trevor Vaden up to 14th there, so Trevor Ventures could still potentially get all 4 of their drivers in the top 15. 3 of their 4 in the top 5 as they run right now. Tim Cording going to stretch it still a little longer here, as it's going to be 4 laps to go. $155.6. He turned up the speed wicker there and was able to go quicker. Well, not quicker, but just a little less time lost there, as he lost half a second to Alan Malcolm. The rest of them, as they run, you've got Jordan Walker with a 4th on tap here. 5th, Dave Steele Jr. 6th, Chaz Chadwick. 7th, Willow Blake. 8th, Kat Durham. 9th, Aunt Me Person. 10, Gannon Bird. 11th, Chris Harvey. 12th, Bailey Parker. 13th, David Bird. 14th, Spinham Walker. And 15th, Trevor Vaden. Not sure if all of these drivers can make it to the finish without having to pit at least one more time, but that's kind of your running order through the top 15 as they run. And I think at this point, Tim Cording just simply trying to minimize mistakes made in the closing laps, as he's going to come around to see just 3 laps left to go around the circuit here. Definitely the tires are wore out on this number 90 machine. We're going to see right here, turns a 156.0. And he's going to be under attack by Guido Piano before long. A 155.2, so another 1.5 seconds chopped off by the 9 here, as he's got his work cut out for him getting around the 81 of John Hagan here. Honestly, at this point, it's going to come down to if the 90 runs out of gas for these guys to get back into the mix. If anything, Tim Cording simply just going to run it until it's running on fumes. That 90 truck is going to be under attack here by the 19 of Guido Piano. I am thinking even just this lap, we're going to see that happen. Regardless of how any of this pans out, still a very gutsy performance from Mr. Cording here. Yeah, here comes Guido Piano. Down the hill there. Kind of psyched us out there. I thought he was going to dip down pit road, but he's going to come around and get 2 laps to go here from the lead. This lap is going to be sizably slower, I imagine. A 156.2. As now Alan Malcolm, Trevor Walker both get by the 81 there of John Hagan. It slowed them up just a tad. They're still 9 seconds out of the lead here, but less traffic separating them from the 90 of Tim Cording. Like I said, it's going to come down to whether or not Tim Cording actually does run out of fuel here The only way they're going to make up 9 seconds of deficit is if this 90 is not able to complete the last lap here today. Or heck, watch the 19 shove him into the grass here. That could slow him up a little bit. That slowed him up definitely. 19 still going to be fighting for that position. We might see these two connect. Tim Cording better be careful. He shouldn't be putting up this much of a fight. The 19 could get right into his back bumper there. They continue onward. Wow, and he gets shoved wide again there. That 90 truck sitting duck out front right now. That truck is not happy in this last lap around the track. He might be taking the white flag, but I don't know if it's going to be a lap he gets to see the last one around. We'll keep our eyes peeled here. 90 going to take that turn. One more lap to go here tonight, no matter what. White flag waving in the air. Lap time was a 1:56.884. Alan Malcolm with a 1:55.775. So knocks off a second. They're down to 7.8 seconds. The 90 shocking us all by stretching it as far as he can here. I still do not like how close this 19 is for that 90. If those two get side by side, the 90 might just get put into the hay bales here before the end of this race. 20 of Vaden looks like might get knocked back another spot into 16th there. So Trevor Venture still with a solid night on tap here. Tim Cording, this is going to be his last ditch effort if he's got everything in the tank. By golly, I think he's going to make it. It's just going to be too little, too late for the Trevor Ventures teammates of Alan Malcolm and Trevor Walker as Tim Cording makes it around the last turn here. He can kind of unwind a little bit knowing that the truck is going to push. It's on fumes as he comes across the front stretch here to get the win here tonight at Calder Park. Holy cow, man. Man, and they came up just shy, 7 seconds back. If the race was even one lap longer, I don't know if Tim Cording was going to have enough extra in the tank for a green-white checkers. Impressive stat there for Trevor Ventures as they get a 2-3-4. Might very well be a first amongst the USA trucks. And just like that, look at, I think Tim Cording is coasting on this cool down lap here. He might have enough fuel to make it back to pit road, but he's concerned that he might run out on this cool down lap. Wow. Right there. Yep, it was about maybe a half a lap that he had left in the tank. Wow. That, folks, that's how you play the fuel strategy game. Tim Cording knew that his only opportunity to win the race today was to play the contrary card. And he did it just to perfection. Alan Malcolm and Trevor Walker, they're going to be able to drive back to their pit stalls, but I think they're going to have to call the tow truck for Tim Cording to get to victory lane here tonight. Well, we've seen it a couple times pan out that way. But tonight definitely sinks in a little differently because this was a chase race where the likes of Tim Cording played the fuel mileage numbers to his advantage here. And there he's going to get his tow truck call. Damn. What a race tonight, folks. Might be a while before I get points tallied, but rest assured we ain't going to have to wait too long to find out where that points standing is going to stand after today's race. Your top three in the points chase finished 2, 3, and 4. So the only one contrary to them was Tim Cording with the win here tonight. And he might as well be in the top 4 after the performance that he put down here at Calder Park. I'm surprised James didn't log into the stream to see how his Cording brothers did. He's probably going to be stoked when he wakes up tomorrow to find out that Tim Cording put on a great show here tonight. The USA Trucks chase for the championship. Seven races still remaining. There's a lot of racing left to go in this chase. But taking home his second win here in 2024, Tim Cording trying to assert himself as a contender for that championship.
Did you have that thing?
His brother Tom Cording won the overall championship last year. Tim still snake bitten for the overall championship. So with that, folks, it is a wrap here tonight for what was an exciting conclusion to this Calder Park Kangaroo Fighter 199. And it's definitely set us up for some excitement going into the next race. This was kind of a return to normalcy, but also still full of chaos that most people did not anticipate or forecast. But even with all that chaos, things did kind of pretty much, shake back out into a normal run at the end. So, yeah, no, that's chase racing for you, folks. Glad you guys can make it and tune in. And we got one more race in the ARCA series tomorrow night and another cup race coming up here shortly too. Other than that, I guess I have nothing left else to say other than have a wonderful night, everyone. Stay safe out there. Get some rest, and we'll see you on the next stream. This is Jakester signing out.